In this video, you are going to learn how to trade Malaysian support and resistance using the CRT, iCRT, and market structure. So basically, I'm going to show you and teach you how you can start trading the MSNR strategy for free. So pay attention to details. So we're going to first of all need to identify structure, because structure is also going to be an important element when it comes to trading MSNR. I know a lot of videos you've watched, you've learned about storylines, you've learned about breakouts and the likes, but without structure, none of those are going to hold for too long. And this is why it's important that we are going to learn about structure. Remember, in my previous video, I taught you how to use your time frame alignment using MSNR, and how you could also use it to enter trades using the iCRT as your point of interest. For those of you who don't know, iCRT is actually a concept that we use as a point of interest. It's actually a Komepips idea. I could call it my idea. It's the idea that I use to easily pick potential points of interest for me. Okay, so without further ado, let's dive right in. So what we're going to do is, I want us to check at least probably we'll trade some data. So we'll start from somewhere. Let's start from here. Okay, now it's very important that we pay attention to details when it comes to trading the MSNR. Now, the first thing we want to do is we actually want to check the daily time frame, because the daily time frame will tell us the intention of price, right? So what do? We're going to use let me take this back so that we'll not see it on the inside first. Daily. So we'll need to start with the daily time frame, because the daily time frame tends to give us an intention of price. And as you can see, we have a daily reject daily here. We have price action. We have daily reject daily. So we'll call this daily reject daily, and this is a key level, and we'll go to 4 hours to confirm our breakout. So usually 4 hours tends to confirm our breakout. We have our breakout right here. This is our breakout, so indicating that price might likely want to go to the upside. And of course, if you notice vividly here, we have what we call the MSNR key level rejection. So this is a 4-hour key level, right? A 4-hour key level. So this is an A shape, this is a V shape classic level. For those of you who don't understand V shape classic level, you might want to refer to my video where I talked about it. It's on MSNR. So once we have this rejection, so what we need to do, you need to put in your vertical line. This vertical line will help you to know where price is coming from and where price we have to break or reject before we do anything. So I want us to take it little by little so that you understand exactly how I'm doing this. So after the breakout and after this MSNR rejection, we want to see 1 hour breakout as well on the 4-hour time frame, based on the 4-hour key level. So what do we have? We have our breakout level here. So this is a breakout, and we'll call this change in state of delivery, which is an ICT concept. We'll need to check the 15 minutes for our inducement. So as you can see, on the 15 minutes we have our inducement right here. So this simply becomes our inducement. This inducement is very important because it tells us that our point of interest will potentially hold. So what do? We'll go back to the 1-hour time frame. On the 1-hour time frame, we want to identify our area of interest. So in this case, we're going to use our iCRT to do this. So basically, what do we have? We have this as our iCRT levels. Now, usually we want to look for setups around, we want to look for key levels that have iCRT on them, and these are high probability levels that we might want to look for our setups. Now, of course, as you can see, we have this as our resistance level, which was broken and now turned support, and this is what we call the RBS in MSNR. We call this resistance break support, so that becomes an RBS here in MSNR. And usually those levels are very, very powerful, especially if previously price tapped it and pushed to the downside, just like in this scenario. So in this case, usually whenever I see that my iCRT level has the wick is smaller than the body, I want to use the opening of that level, and I wouldn't want price to trade below that particular zone. So what I would do, I'm going to place my entry right there. Now remember that we're coming from the daily time frame, so we want to look for potential liquidity zones, and all of these highs, all of these levels are liquidity levels that we might want to target. So this is a 1 to 18 risk to reward ratio. Well, in a real life scenario, I may not be able to hold trade to this level, except I've paid myself and leave a little bit running. Now, I'm just showing you the possibility of how you can use MSNR, market structure, and the Komepips trading protocol to be able to frame your setups with ease. So this is quite interesting and easy for you to understand. Now, after price tap this, and let's see. All right, so we see that we have a very nice tap here. Now imagine that you miss this particular setup, you miss this entry. How then can you get involved? You can still get involved. Why? Because as you can notice here, we have an iCRT level, we have a rejection, and this is what is called double confirmation in MSNR. Double confirmation is when we have a bearish candle rejecting your point of interest on the hard time frames when you want to buy, and a bullish candle rejecting your key level to the downside when you want to sell. So that's what we call double confirmation. So usually price will come and tap that same level and push price to the upside, or come 50%, and also some pairs will sweep it out and continue to the upside. The idea is that it's showing us that this key level is likely to hold. Wait, there's another thing I want to share with you that probably you did not see while I was explaining to you. Now take note of this level. This level is also very much valid. If you notice that this iCRT level was mitigated previously before price pushed up, now but this one was not, and that's why I skipped it. I didn't want to draw your attention to it so that you don't get confused. But now that price have tapped and let a level here, so price have used, let me show you, this is an iCRT level, right? This is an iCRT level. So now we could say that price have used this particular level. All right, price have tapped it, not used now. So we call this a double confirmation. So in this scenario, what can we do? If you miss the first entry, or you are not on chart, or you were waiting for confirmation, this is another thing you can do. I can as well place my entry here, okay, because that zone is still very much valid. Why? Because this is a bearish candle for a bullish push to the upside. Remember, we call that double confirmation in MSNR. So I'm going to do the same thing, because look at this. The body of the candle is smaller than the wick. The body of the candle is bigger than the wick. The body of the candle is bigger than the wick. So I'm going to pick all of those as my levels as well. So the same thing I can as well target here, this 1 to 7 is the reward ratio, and if I want to target this high, which could be our point of liquidity or draw on liquidity, then that will give us a higher risk to reward ratio, which is 1 to 13. Now of course, where is my first target? My first target must be this high, or even be at this key level, because price can top this key level and give a deep retracement before continuing to the upside. So have all of this at the back of your mind. So as you can see, we have a very nice tap, and this was a one candle push. Of course, this was the 10 a.m. GMT plus one candle, which was obviously on during the London session. Now, this is very important that you take note of, right? Because remember, we're coming from daily, and we have a 4-hour breakout, and we have a 4-hour rejecting 4-hour here, and we also have a 4-hour breakout, and we look for our inducement right here, and of course, and we entered. Now, of course, you might ask, why didn't we use this one? It was because I wanted us to start from around here. Otherwise, it's the same process. It's the same process. So if we have our 4-hour breakout here, where is our inducement? Our inducement is around this level, right? Which means that we are going to look for our setup around this zone. So how do we do that? We're going to go to our X2 time frame. Our X2 time frame, this is our X2 time frame, and we look for potential areas where we want to enter. So this was the candle that pushed to the upside. Now take note, nothing on the chart is random. Price is reacting from something. It's reacting from somewhere. Now remember my last video, I talked to us about market phases. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, which is the fourth phase, and this one gave a consolidation, and immediately price take, and that consolidation candle was actually the inducement candle on the lower time frame. So if we go to the 30-minute time frame, this is what we call the time frame alignment. For those of you who are asking, take note, this is our area of inducement, and the only iCRT I can see that is close to it is this particular one right here. Is this one here. But if you notice, this iCRT level is actually above what is above that inducement level. So what do? We are actually going to do, or rather we are actually going to push that to either another iCRT level, or we use the 50% of that zone, of course, because the 50%, we have to draw the 50% from there, right? This is the 50% right there. Look at that. So that's exactly where price used from there. So it's not that I didn't want to show you, that's why we didn't start from there. No, it's because I wanted you to get a very clear. This one is a complex example. Actually, the one I just showed you now is a complex example, because some of you might already be asking, okay, why did I not use the open of the week in this scenario and decide to use the 50%, right? I already said one of the reasons is because the iCRT is above the inducement, and we wouldn't want to use that. We have to use either the body, or we can even use the candle 2 closure. So let's leave that and move to more examples. So if we go to the 1 hour time frame, or we allow price to unfold, right? Because that's what we want to do, especially once our targets have been hit. We want price to unfold. Now, what can you see? We can see that price have given us a change of character, and this is where structure comes in. So we have a change of character here. Now, it not just stop there. We can actually go to the higher time frame, in this case daily time frame, to check if there was a rejection from a key level. And of course, obviously, you see price is rejecting from this QM level, right? Or we can call this RBS level, right? This is a QM level actually. So price is moving from that level, rejecting from that level. You confirm that using the 4-hour time frame, right? You confirm that using the 4-hour time frame. Do we have a 4-hour breakout yet? No, we don't. IBAN now? No, we don't. IBAN now? No, we don't. All right. Now, take note of this. Anytime the 4-hour key level, or rather the 4-hour level to be booked, the 4-hour breakout is very far, you can use 1-hour breakout for the daily time frame. It is very much valid. All right, you can use the 1 hour, for example, for a breakout, and that's very much valid. And if we are to do that, and of course, take note, look at how far it is. Look at how far it is from here. So we could potentially use this particular level, 1 hour rather, for the breakout. So if we're using the 1 hour for the breakout, where would the breakout be? Is it here? Is it here? Or is it this one? obviously our first breakout is actually this one. Why? Because this was the last V-shaped level before the tap into the A-shaped classic level. So for the sake of, okay, let's turn this to CISD. So to make this clean, you can as well use this particular one, but of course this is the level we want to use for our breakout. Now that we have our breakout, the next thing we want to check for is what? Inducement. So we want to go to 1 time frame lower or 2 time frame lower, as the case may be, and look for our inducement. And in this case, this becomes our inducement, and this is also the Komepips chariot inducement, and it's the same thing as the 1 hour time frame inducement, right? So we'll go back to our breakout time frame, which becomes our X2 time frame. And what do we look out for? We look out for our nearest or our best option when it comes to picking an iCRT. So this is it. Of course, you see why it's important for you to learn the trading protocol, because by understanding the concept of iCRT, you will not be confused of the key level to use. You will be able to know the particular key level to use. Why? Because see this, there was no point for me to look at this, oh, we price react from here, we price react from here, this QM, we price react from this level here or at the apex. No, I'm not interested in that, because I've been able to, to learn and study, and I've been able to pick an idea which I call the iCRT, and I use this to look for my potential zones of entry. Now, we have one particular iCRT on this chart, so it has removed all the confusion of using, is it QM, is it OCL level, is it going to be this SB arrow, is it going to be at that SB arrow, is it going to be this breakout, is it going to be this key level or this apex? So instead of getting confused of, okay, 1 2 3 4 5 6, imagine 6 key levels that will potentially confuse you, have automatically be eliminated by using or by just understanding the Komepips iCRT idea. So it is very important that you pay attention. So this is my iCRT level right there. That's my iCRT, and that's where price is reacting from. However, this one, you can notice that this one has more wicks than the body, right? It has more wicks than the body. So I can actually use the 50% of this and I will still be very much safe. I can use the 50% of this right there. That's exactly how you do it right there. And I can target this nearest low, or like I said, this key level, potentially this level, right? So it's all about understanding what do you understand and how best do you understand what is happening. Okay, because this is a daily storyline, so we can as well target even as far as this low, so long we don't have an opposing structure yet. Okay, so but for the sake of being realistic, we need to put in our entry, our TP around this level D, because this is the closest to the, of course, remember that if this level gets broken, that's a 4-hour storyline confirmed by the daily storyline confirmed by the 4-hour time frame. So you see that right there. Now, can I also take my entry from here and still be correct? Yes, I can and still be correct. So if you take your entry here, right, you can place your stop loss here, or 50% of it, which that my entry is, or even use the whole body of the iCRT. Now, of course, I've not taught you about how you can use the iCRT effectively, using whether the 50% open close or you're going to use the whole body, right? But like I told you, the reason why I would prefer using the 50% is because the wicks of the iCRT is smaller, is larger compared to the body. Okay, so for the sake of learning, we are going to put this right there. So we are going to target the same thing right there. So this will give us about 1 to 4.6 risk to reward ratio. Why these are second entry, will give us about 1 to 10, or 1 to, that's roughly 1 to 10 risk to reward ratio. So that's about 1 to 10 risk to reward ratio. Okay, so this is very, very vital, and it's very good that you pay attention, that and you understand exactly how this work. So you see, that's a very nice push, and very nice push to the downside. Now if you notice, price did not get here. Yes, because not every is not going to work out every time, because price is not going to tap the 50% every time. Look at these ones. These ones, price never use the 50% every time. Now do you remember when I was telling you about double confirmation? This is another example of what I mean by double confirmation. You see how the first candle came and tap it, and it was bullish, right? And what happened? The next candle came and take it out, and of course I explained that to us literally in the previous example. By this time, you should be liking the video and leaving me with a comment. It actually helps to get to more people. And in case you are new to my channel, you don't want to be missing my videos, so you need to subscribe. It's free. Okay, so let's continue with the examples. I think we have one more examples before we call it a day. All right, so this is very, very easy and very, very simple for you to grasp. All right, so the next important thing we want to do is I want us to check the higher time frame. This previous price action, we have a daily reject daily, we have a breakout here. So everything we have been trading up above, if you notice, we have been trading above the premium level. Okay, premium level, except for this. So we need to check for structure. This is structure, this is basic structure, this is basic structure. So price breakout takes out inducement. So obviously this becomes inducement. This one here becomes inducement as well, right? I know it's a little bit rough right now, but I hope you can grasp and understand. Now, having said, of course, all of these zones, this becomes inducement as well. Inducement. So we have a lot of inducement because we have what seems like a consolidation of price. So we want to go to the 1 hour time frame, and on the 1 hour time frame we want to look for our iCRT levels. Now for those of you who are confused of why are we going to 1 hour from daily, this is it. Let's do that again. On the 4 hour time frame, first we need to check for structure. In this case, remember, this was a liquidity that was swept, which we targeted earlier on. And of course we also have this level, which is a liquidity level now on the 4 hour. Because look at this, if we have a structure like this, a break structure like this, right? So this automatically becomes our liquidity inducement, and we need to look for valid point of interest here, where we want to potentially look for our entry to the upside. That's exactly what we have from that particular area. Okay, so it's very important that we put that at the back of our mind. So we'll go to the 1 hour time frame and we look for our iCRT. Remember, this is more like an apex level, because apex level for this previous daily reject daily. Because see, when price push up, we look for buys, and price tap this daily key level and gave us a 1 hour breakout. And of course we sold from that level, right? We sold from that level, and price pushed down, which means automatically price is giving us an opportunity for us to look for inducement, right? Because see, our stop loss here, but this candle came, already took out the inducement, took out all of this inducement. So which means all of these equal lows becomes our inducement as well. So if all those equal lows are our inducement, where then is our point of interest? See this, that's a daily key level. On the daily, if we go to the daily time frame, you will notice that this is a V-shaped classic level. But that's not all. We are also going to look for our iCRT, as earlier stated. So for this whole area, where is the valid iCRT that I can see here? This is the most valid iCRT I can see here, this particular one. right here. So I'm going to pull that out and I'm going to use it. I'm going to use this iCRT level. And usually, remember, we are coming from, obviously maybe probably this is a weekly level too, but I don't look at weekly. I just use daily because I'm a day trader. I tend to use more of daily and 4-hour time frame. So if I put my entry there and my stop loss would have to be below that particular level, or I can as well do the same thing, right? But we can just give it a little bit of buffer like that, and we can target these highs. We can target first this high, this highs, this high, this high, this high, and potentially all of this high. Why? Because these are just liquidity. These are retracement to the downside. These are more like a retracement to the downside. All right, so it's very important that we have all of this as understanding. So you see, the same logic that I explained earlier is what's happening here. We have our double confirmation, price taps it and comes back and taps it again and started moving. So once we have that, that is more like a confirmation that, okay, price is willing to continue to the upside. Now, in case you really want to learn my full system, which I call the trading protocol, it comprises market structure, iCRT concept, the MSNR, which some people call the Alchemist strategy now, and of course, which my iCRT concept is on there too, which comprises of MSNR and the iCRT, and of course structure. In case you really want to learn, check the video description and join my free Telegram channel so that you can be learning all for free. But if you want to increase the speed of your learning and you want to get my full attention to learn and study, I recommend that you join my mentorship. All the details is in the video description and potentially on my Telegram channel. This is Komepips.